In the heart of Santa Fe, New Mexico, stands a testament to faith and mystery, the Loretto Chapel. Completed in 1878, its beautiful design held a significant, seemingly insurmountable flaw that baffled its creators and congregation. High above the chapel floor, the choir loft stood complete, a 22-foot perch for singers, beautiful, yet utterly unreachable. The original architect had passed away suddenly, leaving behind no plans for any kind of access to the loft. The space was too small for a conventional staircase. Carpenters were consulted, but all concluded it was impossible. A standard staircase would be too steep and would intrude dramatically into the main seating area of the small chapel. Even a ladder was deemed too impractical and dangerous for the nuns' long habits as they ascended to sing. The Sisters of Loretto were faced with a dilemma. Their beautiful new chapel was functionally incomplete, the choir silenced. With no earthly solution in sight, the devout sisters turned to a higher power for a miracle. They began a novena, a 9-day period of prayer, to Saint Joseph, the patron saint of carpenters, for a solution. On the 9th and final day of the novena, a stranger appeared at the chapel's door. He was an older man with gray hair, leading a donkey that carried a simple, well-worn toolbox. He approached the Mother Superior and announced simply that he was a carpenter and he could build their staircase. His only condition was that he be allowed to work in complete privacy. The sisters, desperate, readily agreed. The mysterious craftsman was given permission and locked himself inside the chapel to begin his solitary work. The nuns would leave food and water for him, but they never saw him enter or leave the building. The only sounds that emerged were those of his work, the scraping of a saw, the tap of a hammer. Months passed. The exact duration varies in retellings, from as short as 6 months to as long as 8. The entire time, no one saw the man. His identity remained a complete and total mystery to everyone. Then, one day, the sounds of construction stopped. The work, it seemed, was finally complete. Hesitantly, the Mother Superior and the sisters unbolted the doors and stepped inside their chapel once more. What they saw left them breathless. Before them stood a structure of exquisite, almost unbelievable beauty and grace. A helical staircase, a perfect spiral of wood, rose from the floor to connect seamlessly with the choir loft above. It made 2 complete 360-degree turns, a feat of geometry and craftsmanship that seemed to defy logic. The sisters stared in awe. The carpenter had not just solved their problem, he had gifted them a masterpiece. But as they looked around the chapel, they realized something was missing. The carpenter himself was nowhere to be found. He had vanished as mysteriously as he had arrived, leaving behind only the magnificent staircase as evidence of his presence. There was no bill for his services, no request for payment. He hadn't even waited for a word of thanks. The Mother Superior went to the local lumberyard to pay for the wood, but they had no record of selling any. No one in the town of Santa Fe had seen the man or supplied him with any materials. He had simply disappeared. Upon closer inspection, the staircase became even more miraculous, a true enigma of engineering and design. The most baffling feature is its lack of any central support. It hangs seemingly in midair. A typical spiral staircase relies on a central mast to bear the load. This one has none, defying gravity. Instead, the inner stringer, the inside curve of the staircase, is coiled so tightly it acts as its own support. The entire weight of the structure appears to rest on the very bottom step, which touches the floor. Another mystery is the joinery. The staircase was built entirely without nails, using only wooden pegs. There are exactly 33 steps, the age of Jesus at his crucifixion, a detail not lost on the devout sisters. Each of the 33 steps is identical in height, ensuring a smooth and uniform ascent to the loft. Originally, the staircase had no railing. It was a pure, unsupported spiral, adding to its terrifying beauty. The nuns were so frightened to descend the railingless spiral that many would come down on their hands and knees. The mystery of the staircase extends to the very material from which it was crafted, the wood itself. For years, its origin was unknown. Many assumed it was a local wood, perhaps pine or fir. However, samples were eventually taken for analysis to determine its species and hopefully shed light on its source. The results were astonishing. The wood was identified as a type of spruce, but not just any spruce. It was a species with no known relatives, a long extinct variety of the tree, or from a place far away. Crucially, no spruce trees of this kind grow anywhere in the state of New Mexico or the surrounding region. So where did it come from? How did a lone carpenter transport massive timbers of a non-native wood? He had only a donkey and simple tools. The logistics of acquiring and moving this wood are simply inexplicable. Furthermore, the wood was apparently bent into its perfect curves using only primitive methods, like soaking in water. The puzzle of the wood only deepens the central mystery. Who was this man and how did he do it? The Loretto staircase is not just a historical curiosity, it is an ongoing engineering and architectural puzzle. Experts from around the world have studied its design, and many remain baffled by its structural integrity. Without a central support column, the staircase should exhibit some degree of vibration or bounce when used. Yet, reports from those who have climbed it describe it as remarkably solid, with very little vertical movement. The tight radius of the inner spiral is the key, but the precision required to make it self-supporting is immense. To achieve this with only hand tools and no modern measuring equipment seems almost beyond the capability of a single person. The railing, which was added about 10 years later by a different craftsman, is itself a work of art. But it's the original structure that continues to defy easy explanation. It is a perfect fusion of art and physics. Some have called it the miraculous staircase, suggesting its construction lies beyond conventional human skill. Is it a lost technique of a master craftsman, or is there a more otherworldly explanation for its existence? With no name and no records, the identity of the carpenter has become the subject of legend and speculation. The most pervasive and enduring belief, especially among the faithful, is that the man was no ordinary mortal. The Sisters of Loretto were convinced that their prayers had been answered directly by Saint Joseph himself. As the patron saint of carpenters, he would have possessed the divine skill to create such a masterpiece. The 33 steps, mirroring the age of Christ, further fueled the belief that the staircase was a divine gift. More secular theories have also been proposed, though they struggle to explain all the facts. One theory suggests he was an itinerant, genius craftsman from Europe who possessed forgotten building techniques. A man named François-Jean Rochaz, an expert French woodworker, was in the area but was reported deceased shortly before. Could he have faked his demise and built the staircase in anonymity? It's a compelling but unproven idea. Ultimately, without a confession, a signature, or a record, the identity of the builder remains shrouded in folklore and faith. For nearly a century, the staircase served its original purpose, allowing the choir to ascend to the loft. The story of its miraculous construction spread, first through Santa Fe and then throughout the country and the world. The Loretto Chapel eventually ceased to be a functioning church and was deconsecrated, but the staircase remained. It was purchased by a private owner who preserved it, recognizing its immense historical and cultural value. Today, the chapel operates as a private museum, with the miraculous staircase as its undeniable main attraction. Hundreds of thousands of visitors flock to Santa Fe each year, hoping to catch a glimpse of this architectural marvel. For safety and preservation reasons, climbing the stairs is no longer permitted, but its visual impact is undiminished. The staircase has been featured in television shows, documentaries, and countless articles, cementing its legendary status. It stands not only as a beautiful object, but as a powerful symbol of faith, mystery, and human ingenuity. It is a physical manifestation of a story that blurs the line between the possible and the impossible. Look at the way the light catches the aged wood, revealing a patina earned over more than a century. Each curve is perfect, each joint seamless. It flows upwards like a ribbon of wood unfurling towards the heavens. From below, it resembles a seashell's perfect spiral, a shape found in nature, yet perfectly executed by hand. The shadows it casts are as complex as the structure itself, painting the chapel walls with its form. Consider the mind that could conceive of this, the vision required to see this form in a block of wood, and the hands that could bring it to life, bending solid timber into a shape of impossible grace. It feels less like a construction and more like something that grew, an organic part of the chapel itself. Every angle offers a new perspective, a new appreciation for its complexity and its deceptive simplicity. It is a silent testament, a wooden witness to a story that has captivated generations of believers and skeptics. The carpenter may be gone, but his work endures, asking a question that may never be answered. So, what are we left with? A story of faith, an engineering marvel, and an unsolved mystery. Was the carpenter a reclusive genius who simply wanted no credit for his masterpiece of design? A master craftsman so advanced that his techniques seem supernatural to us even today? Or was it, as the Sisters of Loretto believed, a genuine miracle delivered in their time of need? An answer from Saint Joseph, the patron saint of carpenters, to the prayers of a faithful few? The evidence is compelling on all sides. The physics are baffling. The wood is a mystery. The builder is a ghost. Perhaps the beauty of the Loretto staircase is not in knowing the answer, but in the power of the question. It invites us to wonder, to believe in the possibility of the extraordinary in a world often ruled by the ordinary. Whether built by human hands or divine intervention, the staircase is a masterpiece that transcends its own construction. It remains, to this day, an impossible, beautiful enigma, silently spiraling upwards into legend